My parents skipped my MIT graduation to watch my sister's ballet recital, only to realize later it was the day I cut them out of my life. When my cousin's Facebook post about the ceremony went viral in our small Ohio town, my mom's phone blew up with messages from her church friends. My dad stopped speaking to her for a week. And my sister threw a fit online that made her look worse than ever. Now the family's a mess, and I'm done trying to fix it. Here's how it all fell apart. I'm Ethan, 26, a software engineer with a decent job in Boston. I've got a life I built from scratch, no thanks to my parents. Growing up, I was the kid who faded into the background while my sister, Lily, 19, danced her way into the spotlight. Don't get me wrong, Lily's talented. She's been twirling in tutu since she was 5, and by high school, she was landing lead roles in regional ballet productions. But my mom, Susan, 50, and my dad, Mark, 52, turned her talent into their entire personality. It's like I stopped existing the moment Lily started point. When I was a kid, things weren't so bad. Mom used to help me with math homework, pin my science fair ribbons on the fridge, even drive me to robotics club. Dad would take me fishing on weekends, just the two of us, talking about nothing important. Then Lily came along when I was 7, and everything shifted. By the time she was 10, Mom had turned into a full-on stage mom, scheduling her life around Lily's rehearsals, competitions, and recitals. Dad didn't fight it, he just went along, like always. My high school achievements: National Merit Scholar, debate team captain, got a nod and a "that's nice, Ethan," before Mom launched into how Lily's coach said she might audition for Juilliard someday. It wasn't just the attention. My parents dipped into my college fund, set up by my late grandma Ruth, to pay for Lily's private lessons and costumes. They called it family priorities. I found out my junior year of high school when I overheard Mom telling a neighbor the fund was mostly gone, because ballet was expensive. I worked 2 jobs, tutoring and bagging groceries, to cover what scholarships didn't for MIT. Meanwhile, Lily got a new car at 16, a shiny red Honda paid for by Mom and Dad. I was driving a beat-up Corolla I bought with my own savings. My grandpa Dan, Dad's father, was the only one who called it like it was. He lives in upstate New York, about a 4-hour drive from our Ohio hometown. He'd call every Sunday, asking about my coding projects or how MIT applications were going. Once, at Thanksgiving, he told Mom straight up she was neglecting me. She brushed it off, saying I was independent and didn't need the attention. Grandpa didn't buy it. He sent me $200 for my 18th birthday with a note. For the kid who's gonna change the world, don't let them dim your light. That note's still in my desk drawer. I tried for years to win my parents' approval. I thought if I aced AP classes, got into MIT, landed internships, they'd notice. They didn't. When I got accepted to MIT, Mom said, "Oh, that's great," then spent dinner talking about Lily's upcoming Nutcracker solo. Dad clapped me on the shoulder and said, "Proud of you," but never showed up to my high school graduation because Lily had a dress rehearsal. Grandpa Dan drove down instead, took me to a diner, and told me, "You're enough, Ethan. Stop chasing people who don't see it." I met my fiancée, Claire, during my sophomore year at MIT. We bonded over late-night study sessions in the library, both grinding through computer science problem sets. Claire's from a tight-knit Boston family. Her parents show up to everything, from her hackathon wins to her cousin's piano recitals. It was weird at first, seeing parents actually care. She saw my family dynamic early on. Once, during junior year, my parents visited Boston for Lily's regional ballet competition. They didn't call me, didn't stop by campus. I found out they were in town when Lily posted a selfie with them on Instagram. Captioned, "Family cheering me on." Claire was furious, but I just shrugged. It wasn't new. The real breaking point started about a year ago with a stupid Instagram post from Lily. She was at some ballet gala, posing in a sparkly leotard, and wrote, "Chasing dreams while others just chase paychecks. Love you, Mom and Dad, for always having my back." She tagged me with a winking emoji. It wasn't subtle. Lily knew I was working a summer internship at a tech startup. Mom commented, "So proud of my star," with a heart emoji. A few cousins liked it, but one, my cousin Jess, messaged me privately. That was low. "You okay?" I told her I was fine, but something in me cracked. It wasn't just the post. It was years of being an afterthought. I didn't clap back online. Instead, I focused on school. Senior year at MIT was brutal. Capstone projects, job interviews, grad school applications. I landed a full-time offer from a Boston tech firm, a 6-figure salary with stock options. It was the kind of thing you'd think parents would brag about. I told Mom and Dad over dinner when I visited home for Christmas. Mom said, "That's nice, Ethan." Then pivoted to how Lily's audition tape for a New York ballet company was almost perfect. Dad nodded along, silent as usual. Grandpa then called me later that week, thrilled. He said, "You're building something real. Don't let their nonsense stop you." That spring, I started planning my graduation. MIT's commencement is a big deal, caps and gowns, speeches, the whole deal. I texted my parents in March. "Graduation's June 5th, really want you there. It's a big moment for me." Mom replied, "That's the same day as Lily's spring recital. We'll be there cheering her on. Can you send us a video of the ceremony?" I stared at the text for a long time. Claire asked if I wanted to tell them how much it mattered. I said no. If they cared, they'd ask what the event was. They didn't. I told Grandpa Den the date. He said he'd be there, no question, and booked a hotel in Boston. Jess, my cousin, said she'd come too, along with her mom, and Karen, Dad's sister. I didn't push my parents further. Part of me wanted to see if they'd figure it out, but deep down, I knew they wouldn't. Lily kept posting about her recital, sharing rehearsal clips with captions like, "Big day coming up. Family's got my back." Mom reshared everyone, hyping her up. Dad stayed quiet like always. June 5th arrived. Claire's family was there, cheering like I was their own son. Grandpa Dan showed up in a suit that looked older than me, grinning ear to ear. Jess and Aunt Karen brought flowers, which felt a little embarrassing but nice. The ceremony was in MIT's Qley Court, sunny and packed with families. I walked across the stage, got my diploma, and looked out at the crowd. No Mom, no Dad. Just Claire's parents waving, Grandpa Dan giving a thumbs up, and Jess snapping pictures. It hurt, but I wasn't surprised. After the ceremony, we went to a nearby pub for lunch. Claire's dad paid for everyone, toasting to Ethan's big day. Grandpa Dan gave me a small box with a watch inside, engraved with "To Ethan, from Grandma Ruth and me." He said it was something she'd wanted me to have when I hit a milestone. I didn't cry, but it was close. Jess posted a few photos on Facebook that night, me in my cap and gown, smiling with Claire and Grandpa Dan. Her caption read, "Couldn't be prouder of Ethan. MIT grad, self-made, and surrounded by people who show up." She didn't mention my parents, but the implication was clear. I didn't check my phone much that day. Claire and I had planned a week-long camping trip in Maine to celebrate. No service, just us in the woods. We left the next morning, and I turned off notifications. Felt good to disconnect. What I didn't know was that Jess's post was spreading like wildfire through our Ohio hometown. Friends from high school, neighbors, people from Mom's church group, they all saw it. By the time we got back, the comment section was a war zone. When I powered my phone on a week later, it nearly crashed from notifications. Texts, voicemails, Facebook tags, the works. I thought someone had died. Then I opened Jess's post and saw the chaos. People were commenting, "Wait, where were Susan and Mark?" And, "They missed his MIT graduation for a dance recital." Someone from Mom's book club tagged her, asking, "Is this true?" Mom's response was a long paragraph. Ethan didn't make it clear how important this was. "We thought it was just a ceremony. We're so proud of him." The replies tore her apart. One said, "You didn't even ask what it was." Another, from a family friend, read, "My kid graduated community college, and I was there. MIT. Come on." Mom's texts to me started angry. "How could you let Jess post that? You're humiliating us." Then they turned desperate. "Please call me. Everyone's messaging me about this." Dad left a voicemail. His voice shaky. "Ethan, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. We messed up." Lily sent a string of texts. "Real mature, Ethan. Making Mom cry because you're jealous of me. Then, you're pathetic for letting this blow up online." I didn't respond to any of them. Claire read the messages and said, "They don't get to guilt you. This is on them." The next day, Grandpa Dan called. He'd heard about the post from Jess and was furious. He said he drove to Ohio and sat my parents down in their living room. He told me he didn't yell. Just laid it out. You've spent years acting like Ethan doesn't exist. You failed him. And now everyone knows it. Apparently, Dad just sat there, staring at the floor. Mom tried to defend herself, saying Lily's recital was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Grandpa shut her down. And your son's MIT graduation wasn't. A few days later, Dad asked to meet me alone. I agreed, mostly because Claire said it might give me closure. We met at a diner halfway between Boston and Ohio, a quiet place off the highway. He looked tired, bags under his eyes like he hadn't slept. He started talking before I even sat down. I screwed up, Ethan. I should have been there. I let your mom run the show because it was easier than fighting. I was wrong. He said he told Mom things had to change, or he was done. I'd never heard him talk like that. He said he was ashamed, especially after Grandpa's visit. He even mentioned the college fund, promising to pay back what they took, bit by bit. I told him I appreciated the words, but trust wasn't coming back overnight. He nodded like he expected it. We ate in silence for a while, just picking at our food. Before he left, he handed me a card with $50 inside, labeled College Fund, Month 1. It wasn't much, but it was something. I didn't know how to feel about it. Mom wanted to meet next with Dad this time. Claire came along. I wasn't doing this alone. We met at the same diner. Mom looked like she'd been crying for days, hair messy, voice shaky. She started with, "You should have told us it was a big deal." I cut her off. "I told you it was my graduation. You didn't ask anything else. You picked Lily's recital without a second thought." She broke down, sobbing into her napkin, saying she thought Lily needed them more because her career was fragile. I told her she didn't support Lily. She obsessed over her and forgot me. I listed it all. The college fund, the missed birthdays, the robotics awards they never showed up for. She kept saying, "I'm sorry," but it felt hollow. Dad said they'd started counseling, and he wanted Mom to go too. I told them I wasn't cutting them off, but I wasn't pretending everything was fine either. They'd have to show real change. Mom nodded, still crying. Dad just looked exhausted. Lily texted me a week later, asking to meet. We met at a park near my apartment in Boston. She showed up in her ballet warm-up gear, looking annoyed. She said her recital went badly because she was stressed about the family drama. She blamed me for making it public. I told her the truth. "You've spent years rubbing it in my face, Lily. Mom and Dad made their choice, and you loved being the favorite." She didn't deny it, just crossed her arms and said, "I didn't ask for this." I said, "Maybe not, but you didn't mind it either." She asked if we were cool. I told her we weren't enemies, but we weren't close either. Not now. She walked off without saying much else. Grandpa Dan called after that, checking in. I told him about the meetings. He said, "You handled it better than most. You set boundaries without burning bridges. That's strength." Work kept me busy. My team at the tech firm was launching a new app, and I was leading the back-end development. The launch went well, and my boss hinted at a promotion. Claire and I started saving for a condo, something small but ours. Life felt like it was moving forward, even if the family stuff was still raw. Dad kept his promise about the money. Every month, I got a small Venmo transfer, $1.30, $50, sometimes $100, labeled College Fund. He sent notes with them, month 2, working on it. He also said counseling was helping him speak up more. Mom went a few times but stopped, saying it was too hard. She texted apologies now and then, but I told her I didn't want words. I wanted actions. She said she was trying, but I wasn't holding my breath. Lily's ballet career hit a rough patch. She didn't get into Juilliard and took a gap year, posting less on Instagram. Some of her dance friends commented on Jess's post, joking about how she peaked at 19. She texted me once, saying people saw her as the villain now. I told her that's what happens when you lean into being the favorite. She didn't reply. By fall, things quieted down. Dad visited Boston alone for a weekend. He brought Claire a cookbook she'd mentioned liking and gave me a photo from my high school robotics win, one he'd found in a box. It was the first time he'd given me something thoughtful in years. We talked about work, Grandpa Dan, neutral stuff. He said he was proud of me. Felt strange hearing it, but I nodded. Claire and I kept building our life. We went hiking in New Hampshire, started a tradition of Sunday brunches with her family. Grandpa Dan visited in the spring, and we took him to a Red Sox game. He used a cane now but insisted on climbing the stadium steps. He told me stories about his own dad, how he had to stand up to him to earn respect. You did the same, he said. You drew a line, and they'll either step up or stay behind. A few months later, I posted a single photo on Facebook. Me, Claire, and Grandpa Dan at the game, all smiling. My caption was simple: built my own team, grateful for who shows up, no hashtags, no drama. I turned off my phone and spent the evening with Claire, watching the Boston skyline from our balcony. For the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be.